باسم إله الشعب رب المضربين الصايم المرحوم على مر السنين، يا منشدين الحي حي يحينا، واحنا هنا على العهد دايما مخلصين. محلى القصائد في الشدايد والغنى، محلى كلام الحب أوقات الشقاء، احنا اللي تهنا على الطريق من بعدنا متفرقين، والسجن هو الملتقى. يا رفاقة من متاهات الطريق، لما الليالي تخنق فيها القمر، يمشي الصديق في الضلمة يخبط في الصديق، والسكة بنت الخطوتين تاخد سنة. احنا النهاردة فين وكام، وبكرة كام، وبعده فين؟ في كل يوم بنزور مكان، وكل يوم بنزيد عدد، وكل يوم نفتح بيبان، وكل يوم بنشيل سدد، وكل يوم يطلع بنا، وكل يوم ينزل هدد، وكل يوم نحب الغنى، وكل يوم نولد مدد. احنا كده لازم نكون جوا السجون برا السجود، محلى القصائد في الشدايد والغنى، محلى العيدان الخضر في الربع الخراب. احنا اللي تهنا على الطريق من بعدنا مجتمعين، من خط صفحة في كتاب ملعونة قامة تنحني بالقهر من حكام وخان، ملعونة كلمة تنتني في الحلق تهرب من اللسان، ملعونة ساعة تنحسب من العمر يطويها الخنوع، ملعونة لقمة مخمسة بالذل، ملعونة الجبان. يا رفاقة يلي علمتوا الصلابة للحجر، بنادي لكم وسط الكآبة والرتابة والضجر. يا مقربين الفجر نوره ومطلعه، مدوا المسامع في المجامع واسمعوا صرخة مغني الحي من جوف العدم، اتجمعوا اتجمعوا اتجمعوا. The strike. In the name of the people's God, the Lord of the strikers, the fasting, the deprived over the passage of time. Oh, the chanters of the neighborhood, awaken our neighborhood while we are here, always committed to the pledge. How sweet are the poems in this torment and the songs. How beautiful are the words of love during the times of hardship. It's we who were lost on the path, from one another, separated, and prison is the meeting place. Yes, my comrades, from the mazes of the path, when in the nights the moon is strangled, a friend walks in darkness, bumping into a friend, and crossing the alleyway that takes 2 steps takes a year. Today, where are we? And how many? And tomorrow, how many? And after it, where? And each day we visit a place, and every day our numbers grow, and every day we open doors, and every day we remove hurdles, and every day buildings rise, and every day we clear the debris, and every day we link songs, and every day we give birth to relief. And this is how it must be. Inside the prisons and outside the prisons, how sweet are the poems in this torment and the songs. How beautiful are these green stems in the spring of devastation. It's we who are lost on the path from one another, gathered, writing a page in the book. Cursed are the backs that bow in coercion for a ruler and a traitor. Cursed are the words that stop in the throat, fleeing the tongue. Cursed is the time a life spends, folded into subservience. Cursed is every morsel dipped in humiliation. Cursed is the coward. Yes, my comrades, you who taught solidity to the stones, I call to you all in the midst of despair and apathy and tedium. Oh, those approaching dawn, its light and rising. Gather the listeners in the mosques and listen to the neighborhood chanters' shouts from the depth of nothingness. Unite, unite, unite. That poem was The Strike by the Egyptian poet Ahmed Fouad Negm, popularly known as Al-Fagumi. He was an Egyptian poet born in the Sharqiyya region just to the east of the Nile Delta in Egypt in 1929, and he passed away in December 2013 at the age of 84. He was very famous for his relationship with Sheikh Imam Isa, a blind Quran scholar and Azhar University graduate who was also a virtuoso oud player. They were brought together by their desire to critique Egypt and the Arab world's social and political situation through poetry and songs. The story goes that they both lived in a poor neighborhood in Cairo, where they were then introduced through a mutual friend. Najm spent an hour watching Sheikh Imam tune his oud, but once the blind man began to play it and sing, Najm could not help but go, Allah! It was the perfect marriage, the musical and Islamic knowledge of Sheikh Imam and the poetic talents of Ahmed Fouad Negm. They worked together for over 30 years. Najm's legacy is that he became known as the poet of the people. He was a true revolutionary poet who was ready to criticize every political and social ill that he encountered in the style of beautiful poetry. What's notable about his poetry is that he wrote in the Egyptian dialect. Of course, a lot of really famous poetry tends to be written in modern standard Arabic, which is not a spoken form of the Arabic language, but rather the style that's written and has been standardized across the dialects based on grammar rules from the Quran. His poetry being written in the Egyptian dialect made it particularly amenable to the musical stylings of Sheikh Imam and also made it relatable to the Arab masses. Najm spent 18 years of his life in prison, having been sentenced to it 9 times. While in prison between 1959 and 1962, he came to meet really important Egyptian literary figures, including Sayyid Qutb, and this became the time in which he took up writing poetry very seriously. And it's likely during one of his prison stints that he wrote this poem, The Strike. Najm went on hunger strike during a sentence he served in 1981 when he was tortured in the infamous Tura prison in Egypt. It's also significant that this poem opens by describing the strikers as fasting. Of course, we are now in the month of Ramadan, and many people compare the fast of Ramadan to the struggle of the poor and that they're unable to eat. But there's also another group of people who are unable to eat, and that's people who are on hunger strike. And so just to conclude today's Poetry Corner, while we're fasting this Ramadan, please remember those who are abstaining from food for their rights and for ours, in the prisons in Israel or in other places, such as in the UK, where recently a bunch of hunger strikers ended their strike that they were forced to go on in order to protest against Israeli arms companies, from producing the machinery and the technology that has been used to target our brothers and sisters in Gaza and in Palestine more generally, and in many other places as well, including Kashmir, for example. And so although their strikes are over, their bodies are still bearing the after effects. And so please join me in making dua that Allah accept the efforts of all of those who are not eating for whatever reason they're not able to eat. And inshallah, we will remember them as we also fast throughout this month, and we will remember their struggle and we will honor it. Allah accept from us all, and inshallah, liberation will come as well, inshallah. Thank you. And now we go back to another break.